And a lot of people think they know the 7 habits of highly effective people. You could probably even list a few of them right now. But this isn't going to be just another summary of the habits. Nope. We're going to dig deeper and uncover the one single powerful idea that the entire book is built on, the core concept that makes all the other habits actually work.
Does this hit home for you? I mean, really. That feeling of being constantly on the move. Your calendar is just jammed, but there's this little nagging voice in the back of your head wondering if you're just spinning your wheels. This quote is straight from the book, and man, it just perfectly captures that feeling so many of us have. Being super busy, but not truly effective. So, what do we do when we feel that way? We scramble for a quick fix, right? We download the latest productivity app. We sign up for some management seminar, or we just try to slap on a positive attitude and power through. The book has a great name for these things: social aspirins and band-aids. They might make you feel a little better on the surface, but they do absolutely nothing to cure the real underlying problem. And this is where we get to the absolute heart of it all. This is the central question. What if all those techniques, all those quick fixes, are failing because we're not even looking at the right thing? What if the very way we see the problem is the problem?
To really wrap our heads around that, we first have to understand why our usual approach is such a trap. So let's dive into what the book calls the quick fix trap.
The book draws this really crucial line in the sand. See, older success books, they were all about what he calls the character ethic, things like integrity, humility, deep-seated principles. But somewhere along the line, that all shifted to the personality ethic, all about public image, slick techniques, and those quick fixes we just talked about. Here's the catch, though. You can't get the fruits of success if you don't have strong roots. And those roots, that's always, always character.
Okay, so if that quick fix personality ethic isn't the answer, what is? Well, this leads us to the core idea, and it's all about learning to see the problem in a completely different way.
The book's big, central concept is the paradigm. Now, a paradigm isn't just your opinion. It's not just your point of view. It is your entire frame of reference, your mental map of the world. Think of it like a pair of glasses. It's the lens you see everything through, and it completely determines how you understand and interpret everything that happens to you.
And this brings us right back to that critical quote. If our paradigm, our mental map is wrong, it doesn't matter how positive our attitude is or how hard we work, we're still lost. It's like trying to find your way around Chicago using a map of Detroit. You can try harder, you can move faster, but you're just going to get more lost more quickly. It just won't work.
All right, let's make this super concrete with a classic experiment from the book. Imagine this. One group of people is shown a picture of a fashionable young woman. They're told to really focus on her style, her youthful look, and they see her clear as day.
Now, a completely separate group is shown a different picture and conditioned to see a sad, older woman with a very large nose. Then both groups are shown the final combined image, and they start arguing. Each side is absolutely convinced they are right. So, who is right? Take a look. Can you see both?
And the answer is, they're both right. They are looking at the exact same lines on a piece of paper, but their conditioning, their paradigm, makes them see two totally different things. And both of them are correct, based entirely on their personal frame of reference.
This little optical illusion just brilliantly shows how our paradigms dictate our reality. But what happens when a paradigm doesn't just shape what we see, but it gets completely shattered and rebuilt in an instant? For that, we've got to turn to one of the most powerful stories in the entire book. It all starts on a quiet Sunday morning on the subway.
So picture this. A man gets on with his kids, and the peaceful vibe is just gone. The kids are running wild, they're yelling, throwing stuff, even grabbing newspapers out of people's hands. It is total chaos. And the dad, he's just sitting there with his eyes closed, doing absolutely nothing.
You can just feel the irritation building in that subway car, right? Finally, one passenger, the author in the story, he just can't take it anymore. He tries to be calm and controlled, but he turns to the father and says, "Sir, you children are really disturbing a lot of people. I wonder if you couldn't control them a little more."
And then, the moment that changes everything. The man opens his eyes, almost like he's just now waking up to what's happening, and he says softly, "Oh, you're right. I guess I should do something about it. We just came from the hospital where their mother died about an hour ago. I don't know what to think, and I guess they don't know how to handle it either."
Can you just imagine that? In a single second, everything changes. The author says, "My paradigm shifted. All that irritation? Gone. Instantly replaced by this wave of compassion. His feelings changed. His behavior changed. He didn't have to force himself to be patient. The change was automatic. It was effortless, because he was suddenly seeing the exact same situation through a completely new lens.
That story is just the perfect illustration of a paradigm shift in action. So, how do we apply this? How do we create these shifts ourselves? This brings us to the practical solution of the book, the inside-out approach.
The outside-in approach is what most of us do by default. We blame our problems on things out there, our boss, our partner, the bad traffic, the economy. But the inside-out approach is a total paradigm shift from that. It says that if you want to change the situation, you have to start with the one thing you can control, yourself. Change begins from the inside, with your paradigms, your character, and your motives.
And this, right here, is where the 7 habits finally come into the picture. See, they aren't just a random list of good ideas or life hacks. They are a step-by-step process, a framework for building the kind of character you need to actually live an inside-out life. They're the tools for creating and sustaining these powerful paradigm shifts.
Living an inside-out life is all about playing the long game. It's about focusing on your character, not just the immediate results. And there's one final, brilliant metaphor from the book that ties this whole idea together perfectly: the goose and the golden egg. This little fable is all about a core principle called the P/PC balance. Now that sounds a little technical, but it's really simple. P stands for production. That's the results you want, the golden eggs. PC stands for production capability. That's the asset, the person, the thing that produces the results. That's the goose. The story is a classic. A poor farmer wakes up one day and finds his goose has laid a solid gold egg, and it does it every single day. He becomes unbelievably wealthy. But with that wealth comes greed and impatience. He gets tired of waiting for just one egg a day. He decides to kill the goose to get all the eggs at once. Of course, when he cuts the goose open, he finds nothing inside. And now he's lost it all. No more goose and no more golden eggs.
And the moral of the story is the essence of the entire book. True effectiveness is all about balance. If you focus only on getting those golden eggs, the great grades, the big promotion, the quarterly profits, and you neglect the goose that lays them, your health, your relationships, your skills, your knowledge, you will eventually destroy the very thing that produces the results you want in the first place.
So when you boil it all down, the most powerful idea from the 7 habits isn't really a habit at all. It's the massive paradigm shift from focusing only on what you get to also nurturing your ability to produce. It's the deep understanding that, so often, the way you see the problem is the problem. So I'll leave you with this to think about. In your own life, what are the golden eggs you're chasing at the expense of the goose?